And exhale. If it's helpful to you, you might just be with your breath, feeling wherever it is, the breath is noticed. Just be in your body. You may hear sounds, feel pulses inside your body, feel your body breathing. Letting go of all your to-do lists, planning and organizing. If many thoughts are coming into your mind, that's not a problem. If you can gently let them go, coming back into being awake, sensing your body, coming back to this moment over and over again. I'm not sure what the gong may have sounded like to you, but let's come back together. So I would like today to offer you, well, let me tell you what we're going to do this afternoon. We're going to discuss looking at what is known as metta practice. We'll have a guided sitting meditation. I would like to read a poem to you, close with a blessing, and then have our questions, comments. And I hope you'll be able to join in then. So the practice of metta, let me tell you what metta, M-E-T-T-A, means. It's a Pali word that comes from the time of, and this is what the Buddha spoke thousands of years ago. Metta means friend or standing near to. So I'd like to ask you to think of a friend, of someone who you have great affection for, you respect, you are kind to, not critical of. Might you take those qualities and bring them within into your own heart, befriending yourself. Might you be able to befriend your own body? A friend of mine recently said, I feel a stranger to my body. we sometimes abandon our bodies, especially now when we can't exercise as much, when we may be experiencing more pains and aches. We can become irritated, angry at our bodies, feel betrayed by them. And yet, our bodies are doing everything they can to actually take care of us. I once had a stress test, and the doctor said, "Would you like to see your heart?" I said, "Yes." And I was astounded. I had such gratitude. And I realized how I've not paid much attention. I've just taken my heart for granted. So those aches in your body, the pain where there's tightness, contraction, could you perhaps relate to it differently? Relate to your body with some affection, some caring for, some gratitude. And what might it look like if you were to befriend your mind? I want to share with you a story, true story, happened a few weeks ago with my dear husband, Larry. Larry needed to have a procedure done at Beth Israel Hospital, and we were told it would be a 3 or 4 hour procedure, and that I would not be able to be with him at all. I could not even go into the hospital with him. So when I kissed him goodbye and watched him walk away, a lot of fear came up, a lot of worry. And I could feel the fear, the worry proliferating. I could feel I was going down a rabbit hole. But thankfully, because of this practice, I was able to step back, not suppress the fear worry, but just step back a little from it. And I was able to remind myself that the fears and worries that were coming were just thoughts. Why was I letting them hijack my mind? I thought just thoughts, just combination of words. Doesn't mean anything is true. I don't know what the truth is, I told myself, but these are just thoughts. I was also able to think, sorry, I have to just follow a little going along here. Able to think of 4 words that have helped me in my practice. The 4 words are in the midst of. In the midst of my fear and worry, could I still find that place that I know exists, that place of calmness, of peacefulness? And it's very interesting. You can let the fear be there and you can let the calmness be there at the same time. Abiding with the fear and the calm. That place of calmness is a great refuge for me. I think of it as going home to. And I asked myself at the time, I had pulled the car over, and I thought, what is it I need right now in this moment? That has been a helpful question for me to ask. And quite quickly, what came to my mind is be compassionate with yourself. This is difficult. be kind. Send a prayer of loving kindness to Larry, that he may be well. And he did recover very well. And be with a friend. Thankfully, Diane Dahlbaum, who is here today, had offered to be with me. And she said what I needed to hear from a friend: we don't have to talk, we can just be together. And it was exactly right. So I think befriending our bodies, befriending our minds is part of this very deep practice. From a place, the place I'm telling you about that's really very calm and quiet, from that place, I have found empathy and connection have arisen. Often, I feel so connected to other beings. We are all deeply connected. As Lynn Unger, the poet, said, we are connected in ways that are terrifying and that are beautiful. Feeling our humanity, feeling the web of life. None of us are truly alone, and it's always been that way. The Buddha said, we all want life. We all fear death. And we all know that there's certain things we all need, certain basic securities. You know, I had an interesting experience that same day after I picked Larry up from the hospital. We were driving through Brighton, and I saw this long line of people, young, old, sick-looking people, very tired-looking people, rather depressed-looking people. And I thought, what are they all standing in line for? And as soon as I drove around the corner, I saw, oh, it's a food distribution center. And that image has so stayed with me. So I've taken that image into my own meditation practice, and it is what helps me to set an intention to be kind, to be generous, to feel my connection. That's what this practice is about. It's not about just taking care of ourselves and our own minds and our own sufferings. It's about expanding our hearts and reaching out with love to all people, reaching out with kindness to all beings. So oh my goodness, the time. It's going fast. I don't know if any of these words may have resonated with you, if you might let them sink deeply within, or if they haven't, if it's just been rather confusing, that's no problem, just let them go. But let's come together and sit quietly for 10 minutes or so. So let me see if we can get our gong. And just close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And be relaxed. alert, maybe curious, but relaxed. Soften around your eyes, all those little muscles around the eyes where we hold tension. Let your jaw soften. Drop your shoulders. Let your hands, your arms, your fingers be relaxed. And your legs, your feet. Feel your body where it touches on a chair or a cushion. Feel the space you take up right now. You may hear sounds, a bird, a car. Sounds, touch. If your eyes are open, you may be seeing an image, but even with our eyes closed, we can still notice what is behind the eyes. Relax your belly. Noticing your breath as it begins to slow down. Where can you feel breath? When your mind wanders off, just gently bring it back to being here, right now. Let the body do the breathing. Nothing to control. nothing to expect. Perhaps you can feel spaciousness in your mind, spaciousness in your heart. Open mind, open heart. When your mind drifts off, you might keep coming back to the body, to feeling the pressure of your body, sitting, your feet on the floor, your hands in your lap, perhaps. Take a nice inhale and exhale. I'd like to read a poem to you. This is from a very interesting book called, oh, I don't think you can see that, The First Free Women, Poems of the Early Buddhist Nuns. So these are women who were practicing with the Buddha. This poem is written by a nun named Metta, and it's called Friend. Full of trust, you left home and soon learned to walk the path, making yourself a friend to everyone and making everyone a friend. When the whole world is your friend, fear will find no place to call home. And when you make your mind your friend, you'll know what trust really means. Listen, I have followed this path of friendship to its end, and I can say with absolute certainty, it will lead you home. So again, let's just be a little quiet while I offer you a blessing. May I see myself with eyes of love and compassion. May I see all beings with eyes of love and compassion. May I see all things with eyes of love and compassion. May we all find peace within. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks very much, Brenda. I suspect many people found this very helpful, especially at this particular moment. So we have a few minutes left. If you want to make a comment on what you've experienced or ask Brenda a question, just click on that raise hand button at the lower part of the participants list.
Is that Cindy? I don't know if she's raising her hand. I think she is. No, she's not, I guess. Where's the? Yeah.
Go ahead, you can just speak.
I can't. Yes, she is raising her hand.
Okay. Well,
Also,
I found a way to.
She's associated with the host, so she doesn't have to raise her hand.
I found a way to unmute myself, and I just wanted to say, Brenda, it was just so peaceful and just so kind, and you kind of put forth those feelings of peacefulness and kindness, and I just love the mood that you created. It was very, very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Me too, Brenda. I liked the words "in the midst of." That somehow really struck me. That if I were to sit and spend some time with those words,
Yes,
that it would be really interesting. And of course, you must have a voice coach.
Yes, you have a very, very good voice.
I didn't put you all to sleep. I was worried.
It's a totally wonderful
No,
voice.
it's lovely.
Thank you.
And speaking as someone who's very sensitive to voices, and in some ways, especially women's voices, yours is very, very lovely. Perfectly suited to what you were doing. So there are other people. Yeah, I think everyone is so peaceful that they don't want to spoil their mood by speaking. But I'll give you a couple more minutes before we sign. Oh, there's David. You have something you want to say? I think you can unmute yourself. There you go.
Hello, Brenda.
Hi.
The more exposure I have to meditation, the more I learn about it. And I don't meditate, but when there have been opportunities through First Parish to learn about it and to meditate for a short period of time, I've done that. And yeah, I resonated to that too, about what is it that I need in the midst of sort of what's going on. And that maybe a little bit of what I've gotten from First Parish has sunk in, because I do that once in a while. I'll ask myself, what is it that I need, or why am I feeling this way? And I can go into other reasons why, perhaps other sources of why I've come to that. But that really, boy, that really sank in about you asking that. So I trying to learn what is going on inside you, to value yourself, to honor yourself. I was hearing that from you, and then bring that out to the world as well. Embrace it all. That was great. Well, what motivated you, or what would to start meditating? Any particular, if that's too personal, then you don't need to answer it. But I was wondering.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. What's about that? It was first I did a lot of yoga, which I still do. And yoga teachers often begin with a short little meditation. And life, there was suffering in my life. I had afflicted mind states. I had confusion, I had doubt. And slowly, gradually, I came to walk on this path that has felt like a path I can trust.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you. Another question I sometimes work with is, what is life asking of me at this moment, rather than what do I want from life? But switching that, that's been helpful.
Judy, did you have something you wanted to ask or say?
This was wonderful. It was just a beautiful sharing experience with all of you, with Brenda guiding us. Brenda, this sounds like a type A question, I'm afraid. But here goes. Every time I have an opportunity like this to meditate, I enjoy it immensely. However, I don't seem to have the self-discipline to do it regularly. So this is my type A question. To get me started, how often every week would I have to do it? There, okay, I was out there with it. Okay, Brenda, shoot.
For what? What do you want to get from meditation? Have you ever asked yourself what?
I'd like to get in about 2 sessions what I could get in 7. No, I'm being facetious, of course. But, with different things like exercise and all, they are practices. And so to start down the road of enjoying meditation, is there any general suggestion about how often, a week that's not daily? Okay, I'm not ready for daily yet. So what would you suggest?
So I think when people are first beginning meditation, they have a sense that they have to do it for a long time or it won't be any good. This is not true. It's more how often you might just sit in your chair, your cushion, and just try it for a few minutes. Try 3 minutes, try 5 minutes.
Oh, that's a thought. Okay. And maybe even a very short time every day.
That,
Might
yes,
be better than 20 minutes or half an hour twice a week.
that's right. That's right.
Thanks, Brent. Thanks.
And I found it very helpful to meditate with people because you're in community. And now at this time with Zoom, you can actually see people that you're meditating with, and that builds strength and commitment. I can also tell you all that if you go to the Cambridge Insight Meditation Center, CIMC, that the founder of that center, a lovely woman named Narayan, she offers 5 days a week, just a 15-minute little sitting, and about 350 people go to that sitting. And she does a lovely, very short talk. She gives you a little homework for the week. And the homework is, she will often throw out some sort of meditative question, just something to contemplate. And I find that helpful too. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.
Meg, did you have a question or a comment?
Well, my comment is like everybody else's. It's just, I think it's just extraordinary what being quiet with people who want to be in a non-harmful place is very, very powerful.
Mm.
You know, just the way you said Diane was able to tell you because she knew that she didn't have to say anything, you didn't have to say anything. And to me, that's where you begin to get, sometimes to me, the nonverbal is where you begin to get to the depth of things. And I thank you for what you gave us today. My question is, have you ever done any workshops or anything for people who might not know what it's like to have a friend? I mean, I was thinking, for instance, of women in prison.
Yes. Yes. Well, my answer to that, I tried very hard to get into the women's prison in Framingham to offer yoga or meditation. And I kept getting rebutted, but I kept working up the ladder and I got hopeful. And then finally I spoke to the superintendent and he said, no, we can't do that here. So that didn't work. But I have found working in groups like Lexington Eats Together. That's a place where I've made great friends with that community. It's so interesting because you find you can connect with people on such deep levels after you get past the how do you look, what do you say stuff. Thank you, Meg.
Bob, you have something you'd like to ask?
Oh, a two-part. First, a big thank you, because Brenda, you've always been this kind, wise, compassionate presence, especially towards introducing me to meditation, and I really resonated with what you said about what is life, ask of me, and from day to day, the answer sort of changes. But I think in generally, it's like about knowing myself, like at the Delphi Oracle, know thyself, and then be kind with myself and be kind with others. And when I do that, I know my wife is happy, but I'm happier too. I have the sense of well-being that I got today, and I want to thank you for taking the time to do this for us. It's meant so much to me personally and my family, it turns out.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, it's interesting because we don't really trust that we can, as I said, go to that place of a calmness and stillness. And it's absolutely true that when we're there, this practice has just helped me to feel happier. And I've noticed the people around me, right, Larry? Doesn't always work, but. So it's definitely a path with, it's just interesting how things are revealed to one on this path, bit by bit.
Well, thank you so much, Brenda. Really appreciate it. And thank all the rest of you for coming and sharing this experience today. So hope to see many of you next week. Thanks again, Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda, very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Brenda.